Okay. I don't really know how to go with this conversation. I may have to go out to my garage because Pippi's all excited. Let's see. See if I can. Okay. This conversation, it's not really one that I want to do, but I'll do it anyways. It kind of feels pushed on me, like somebody asking you to um, sing a song, but they're trying to direct you about what to sing about. So I went on my walk, and this morning I had to think about what exactly was happening. I took my vitamins and supplements right before I ate my bowl of cereal. So I started to feel hot, and I had to sit down at the end of the road. I didn't know if I was going to puke or not. And then the cool breeze blew on me, and I was okay. And then I start walking. I get back up and walk down a little bit, and I see a skunk, and I'm like, ah! And so I kind of walked like far away from it so that I wouldn't alarm it and have to smell that. So thank goodness it just was looking around and foraging or whatever it was doing. It was not concerned about me. And then so I get past the skunk, and in my head my inner voice said Bo Burnham is um no longer a icon or something like that. No longer a person of interest. Which, after I heard that, two trucks drove by that said, one said fire on it, and one said Denali. And so I was like, I had questions. Okay, Bo's name, the Bo that I had wrestled around with as being one of my children, was something that kind of was pushed on me, that I didn't necessarily like that name, but it kind of grew on me when I tried to get myself to like it. But it came from that whole thing with Sprinkles the pony, the letter from Santa, Benjamin. But then I found out that my granny's name was Benny, and then her mother's name was um, Addie, right? And that was the dog of my. I also had a dog of mine named Addie that died when my grandmother died. So it was like her grandmother's name died with my grandmother's. That's hard to get your head wrapped around. Her grandmother's name was Addie. My dog was named Addie. My dog died a day within a day of her. Anyway, this Addie that I did research about, her father's name was Benny also, and he was it might have been her husband's name. Yeah, Benny and Addie. Yeah, it was her husband's name, I think. So he died when he was like 30 39 years old, somewhere around there, young, along with their two sons, who might have also had the name Benny, or one of them was named Benny. It got very confused. There was too many Bennies. But anyway, I contemplated all of these things through the lens of medicine and sin, okay? And also how last names get given to a woman. But after thinking about that, now this is information I do not know about, okay? I could make up all kinds of stories about ancestors and wonder what happened with medicine or what happened with alcohol or what kind of poor choices they made. I do not have that information. And it's going to bother me if I have to dig at that too long. If I have broken a what is it called? A generational curse by the things that I decided to not do because of the consequences of my um, trying to do what my ancestors did, um, then I don't necessarily know that it's that important for me to know about all that information, other than the fact that maybe I broke some, you know, got rid of a curse. I don't know what else you would say about that. I do not. So then I saw a truck that said Dakota. Okay, that's the name. I know of two children, or they're not children anymore, I don't think, named Dakota. But I don't know if it's the topic of abortion that wants to be brought up or what. But like I said, I do not um want to get into what friends asked me to go with them to do before I even understood the consequences of those choices. Okay, so that's the thing. Like I said, that I had one friend who um, was named Cheyenne that wanted to get an abortion when I was, what was it, like 17 years old, and she asked me to ride with her to do that, and then she decided not to do it when she talked to her grandfather on the phone. And I had said that Ren, the girl that Ren sang with Chinchilla, sort of reminded me of the way that Cheyenne looked, and also that her Chinchilla's last name caught my attention. I don't know anything about Chinchilla, and like I'm not really, I'm not into listening to her music. I don't know anything about her. I don't know what that connection is about, and I could make up a story about it as to it being significant, but I do not know. I do not know, and I don't think it's the healthiest thing for me to do, because if I feel like it's something that I'm trying to be like um, standoffish about because I'm not sure that I trust it, then that needs to be admitted. Okay, I don't. I want. I So the word delusional got brought up too, about trying to keep yourself believing things when there is evidence of the contrary, to try and create fantasy in your mind. And so I think that that's something that definitely needs to be brought to the surface. If I feel like I'm pulling back from trying to get to know more about somebody and then creating this other story in my head about what, dreams I would like, I call them dreams, what things that I would like to create differently in my world over here, I'm not actually cooperating, I don't, with anybody as far as coming to fruition, however you say that word, with a plan. Okay, it's this thing that, like, I didn't want to be punished for having not stood up to morally whenever my friends asked me to go with them to do things that I regret, and then I feel like maybe I'm not so sure that I didn't have to experience some sort of consequence for that naivety. Also, I'm not sure about the complete situation of the ovary because I have now recognized that you should not say that you want to die and things like that, um, because you don't want to get what you've asked for. Okay, so I don't know if that was like a saving thing for me to have had to have that experience, because if I kept saying that I wanted to die, and instead of losing my ovary, I could have lost my whole life. And that is something that needs to be talked about. Be careful when you're upset about what you're saying. If it's not really the truth about what you want, you shouldn't say that. Okay? So I should never have said that I wanted to die. Okay? Because I was venting emotionally and that being exaggerative. I should never say that I want to do anything that I wouldn't actually do. Okay? That's the morality of that situation. Now, if I feel uncomfortable about forming a relationship with a person, I don't need to be talking about building families with them, right? Because there's something that is feeling alarming to me that I don't quite understand. So I need to bring that up. Now, the other thing is, now the other thing I read said, when you're going through your day, knock off the hardest part of it first. So I think that's a good thing to live by. If you have this mental list of things that you're trying to encourage yourself to do, and then there's some part of it that you're experiencing a lot of dread about, or a lot of, like, I think I'm just going to shove this off aside, I don't want to deal with it, then maybe that's what you need to bring to the forefront and go ahead and deal with it instead of trying to focus on something else that you would rather do, or something that doesn't seem so uh non-polite, right? That's another issue of wanting to be polite, but it's not really polite at all when I think about that. You can't be making up stories about having relationships with people that you don't actually want to have relationships with. And I need to recognize that about Ringil also. As like I said, I see a lot of growth and beneficial experiences that I have had within myself because of having come across him. There's other things that I feel afraid of. And so I don't want to seem dishonest or trying to force this children's fantasy or family fantasy upon us if that's not what this is about. And I don't like I said, I have this oh yeah, there was turkeys on my walk also on the other side within the fence, if that's relevant. Several butterflies. Um, but anyway, so like the fact remains that I haven't really actually met Ren, and there are some things that I have enjoyed about him. There are some things that I have not enjoyed about him. But you know what? There's that has to go back, and it's not just about joy. Okay, there's things I've had to dig into that I would not have dug into or even publicized if it wasn't for meeting him. Okay, those are significant things, and like The other thing that I thought was strange was this whole thing that I created about Sebastian from wanting, thinking of his name sounding like a chin. The first name I ever came up with for my dreamed up son. That I had noticed that Patrick from Train had that scar on his chin, and it's like it just feels very surreal to me that I see these things with people that have all like a lot of it because I stay isolated and I've tried to I try to cut myself off from too much um TV and things like that. Um the how do I how does that happen in my mind where I formed all of these ideas and then see a story on somebody else, which reminds me of something that was only occurring in my head or something that I was pondering about or something that uh, I was not thinking of this other person when I started doing all of that, and then there is another person that actually exists. So it's like I don't necessarily understand it. It's like I could dwell on it for significance and try and bridge a stronger emotional connection, but I don't really know what to do with it. I don't know how these things are happening. Um, uh, let's see. Like, even thinking about having an inner voice that says things to me every once in a while, even that's questionable. Like, how do you know for sure exactly what that is all about? There's all kinds of questions. Yeah, and that's the thing about being honest, is not trying to convince yourself that you know why something is happening if you don't know why, and don't try and convince yourself of a future that you want, but you're really skeptical about whether or not that's going to be something that you're comfortable with doing. Okay, because you don't have it. Maybe it's just because you don't have enough information. But what was the other thing? Um, Today I'm gonna dig up all my Brussels sprouts and I'm gonna cook them briefly and put them in the freezer. I got all my green beans put in the freezer yesterday. Um, let's see. Ringil, is it okay that I do not know for certain about how to know what I am comfortable with doing when it comes to our relationship? Okay. Like, it's not like I'm in between. It's just like, I don't think, like, I just don't know. I don't know. It's like, I don't, if you haven't experienced something before, you don't always know how to put a forecast on things. Like, you know what you wouldn't put up with and bringing into your own house, and I've already discussed those things. But as far as planning and dreams and all of that stuff goes, I don't know. Like, the other thing about the name Bo, which irritated me, was had to do with the crawdads, because this neighbor threw his name tag over in my garden bed, which said like Bo Crawford on it, and I cut it up and threw it back over the fence because I'm like, stay away from me. I don't understand what you people want. Um, I made that name up, Benjamin Oliver. Okay, has nothing to do with them. I don't understand what they want from me. And so it alarms me. Like, it's like, okay, if you went to sleep one night, or no, let's just say that you wrote in your journal some name that you kept seeing, and then all of a sudden some strange neighbors are throwing stuff in your yard and you don't know what the hell to do about that. Like, you're like, if you're not going to tell me what you want, I cannot guess about it. I don't know what that has to do with anything. What, like me finding a bucket of crawdads and a bush at CB Park and putting them in my pond to see what would happen before the pond was all the way filled up. That has nothing to do with this person next door. So just the same thing as like trying to figure out what Sebastian or my granny or um or Chinchilla looking like somebody that I've known before, or Ren having things in his work that reminded me of memories in my own mind. How am I supposed to understand any of those things? It's like me trying to understand that is a lot of guesswork, and then trying to see what comes up out of me based on what information is coming into me. I'm not dreamy about it really, because I can't be. Like, I don't have a very, it's like, I don't, as much as you would like to get into lovey-dovey feelings about music, it doesn't ever stick. It's like, it's fleeting. It's like um feeling happiness or joy during your day for a little while. It's like you don't stay like that all the time. So it's like, and if you listen to the same song over and over and over again, you turn numb to it, and then you don't even like the song anymore. So I don't know what to do with all of that. And I'm not trying to be insulting when I say I wouldn't want someone to just um want to be pleasant to my ears all of the time, because I don't think that that's a healthy way to live. You have to focus on building a life together with productive and other things that you need to focus on what you should be able to do for yourselves. And I don't know what else to say about all of that. Like, um, but I am gonna just say what I think with all of the thoughts that came up with that. Like, I felt pushed to have the discussion. Don't really understand any of it. But the other part is that I talked the other day about somebody getting fired from supervising me. Nobody should be supervising me anyways. Okay, I live in my own house. That's like, and I have had that been able to take care of myself for quite some time. And if somebody thinks that they should supervise me, then I need to know why they think that they are smarter than I am. Okay? Because if they're not, they have no business supervising me. Okay? I need to, like, okay, if anybody thinks they can ever be in the position of supervising another one, there needs to be a competition about who's more competent about what they're capable of doing, because I think that's a myth. Nobody should be supervising anybody who can take care of their own self. Okay? It's if you're in a situation where somebody's an invalid, if you're having to have a supervisor of someone who needs to, like, practice daily care. So I'm just going to end with, like, the fact that should be illegal. Nobody should be nosing in on other people's home care, self-care situations. And as far as a couple's relationship goes, and trying to work through, these counseling ideas, that is my decision who I decide to work with. And it's also my decision if any kind of romantic relation comes from that. And that's still going to be something that requires trust building. And, you know, I'm not afraid of saying that I will go without having children out of my own body. That's not my biggest fear, okay? Because I'm not going to do that with a group of people who I can't trust, okay? I'm not. I'd rather just, take care of myself if I can't trust my chosen family, okay? Trust is a requirement all around. And just because I'm afraid of people doesn't mean that I'm not able to trust them. It means I don't know them well enough to not have that fear. Okay? But anyway, that's it for that conversation.